Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic 2021 as we get further into the year. And with that, today I want to share what, for me at least, is a really explosive topic. It's something that I have felt passionately about for a long time, and that is one thing in particular that I feel like polyglots can teach the world. I'll be really curious to get your thoughts, see what everybody thinks, but without further ado, let's take a sip of coffee and jump in. Okay, so all throughout my life, since I was as young as I can remember, I've always loved learning a whole variety of different skills and different things. And it's just been a constant theme since I can remember, all the way through until even today, that I have actually very often, almost constantly, been discouraged from doing so. Discouraged from learning a whole different set of skills and different things at any given time. And the reason is almost always the same. And I should also say that I think it's well-meaning. People don't mean any harm by this. They're trying to help. But people have always said things like, well, if you learn 2 or 3 things, then you'll never be great at any of them, right? There's this name that is given to people like me, right? A jack of all trades. Well, the second part of that is, but master of none. And I feel like that there's this very bizarre obsession with greatness, right? Which is so strange because it is the most subjective thing I can imagine, right? What does it mean to be great at something, right? If I played the guitar today in front of maybe a group of primary school kids, for example, they might look at me with the widest eyes and think I am great at playing the guitar. Whereas if I played the guitar to a guitar teacher, they might think I'm mediocre at best. If I cook a meal for even some friends of mine who really enjoy food, I love cooking so much and I've practiced cooking to the point where maybe I can cook a meal that makes them really think like, you're a great chef. But I could also go and cook for, a professional chef and again, be perhaps mediocre at best. So I don't understand this obsession with the idea of being great to the point of being world class at something. And so the reason why I bring this up is that, first of all, it has actually been incredibly damaging in my own life, and I think even more so in the lives of others. I happen to be an incredibly stubborn person who really has pushed through a lot of stuff, but the times when I've been the most unhappy and certainly the most lost in my life are the times when I let this advice really pervade my mind, right? When I really started to question, maybe I should just pick one thing. Maybe everybody's right. And that led me into spiraling panic attacks and sometimes months, especially during university. I almost had a borderline just existential crisis over this. And the times that I have been not only the most happy, but the times when the most pivotal changes have happened in my life in a very positive direction, those have always occurred during the times when I embraced my curiosity, when I just allowed myself to enjoy being fascinated by different things and not caring about this idea that maybe I won't be the best programmer in the world. Maybe I won't be the best musician in the world. Maybe I won't be a native-like speaker in every language that I learn. Just allowing myself to do the things that I really, really love, but in my case, always being focused on doing them really, really well. Because I think that there's a huge problem and a huge disconnect with this idea that being great is doing it really well and everything below that sucks. Not true. And so where do polyglots come into this whole conversation? Well, if someone is a polyglot, meaning an accomplished polyglot, someone who speaks, let's say 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, different languages to high levels, and somebody who has learned those perhaps as an adult, right? They have learned those languages through embracing and mastering the art of learning languages, right? And so they have gained a certain level of proficiency in a variety of languages. And they, especially if they maintain those skills over time, well, by definition, that is a person who has defied all of these social norms that tell us, no, if you try to do, 3 or 4 things, then you're gonna somehow be bad at all of them, right? So when I started learning French after Japanese, I can't tell you how many people at the time thought I was crazy, especially when we start talking about Spanish and then maybe Italian and Portuguese and then on and on. I mean, so many people told me that, you're gonna end up just not really being good at any of them, right? And that's of course totally untrue. And I think I proved that wrong time and time again. And now expanding far beyond the realm of languages, if we start talking about programming or data science, but even way earlier in my life with things like guitar and piano, skateboarding, whatever. So the thing that I think is amazing about polyglots and languages specifically, and why I think this is a great vehicle that can teach the world something here, is that languages are a perfect case where you don't have to speak a language perfectly. First of all, what would it mean to be truly great, the best in the world at speaking French? What the heck would that even mean, right? It doesn't mean anything. So you don't have to be the best, and you don't even have to be great at a language to have it profoundly change your life in the most positive array of ways, right? You don't need to be a near native speaker in a language to have the most amazing experiences in your life, to experience some of the most profound, rich, and robust just enhancements to the experience of going through life. You don't need to be near native to potentially work a job in a foreign language. The point here is that you can be pretty darn good. I would even just say good enough for so many things in a variety of things, right? And so, like I say, polyglots, accomplished polyglots who have stuck with it and who have really done it, by definition, those are people who said, no, I can learn 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, 6, 7, in my case, 8, coming on 9 languages, and I can actually learn them well. It will take me some time. Frankly, I think it's harder, right? It's very difficult to maintain a level of focus and consistency over an extended period, certainly to really truly develop an interest that's deep enough to carry you through. But I can do that. Polyglots are people who said, no, I don't need to be a perfect, world's greatest anything to get what I want out of this language and its contribution to my life. And so what I've found is that for me, this attitude of saying, no, you know what? I really, really, really like Japanese, but I like French so darn much. And I love Spanish so deeply. Like, I'm going to learn both, like all 3 of those languages. And I really like programming, and I have a dream to build a big software project that I think can change the world. So I'm going to learn programming. And even within programming, I'm going to learn stuff about networking, stuff about databases, stuff about backend, stuff about front end, stuff about web performance, and stuff about, mobile application architecture. I don't care. All of those things I just mentioned, I've been told at one time or another, maybe you should focus on just that one thing. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this inspires people, because at the end of the day, if you like one thing and you want to do that one thing, that is totally cool, right? But for the people who are genuinely fascinated and curious with learning a few different things, right? I don't think that they should be put down. I don't think that we should project this weird dichotomy of like a false dichotomy of either being great or being terrible. Like, there is such a massive scale in the middle there. And the fact is, you can be darn good at a lot of things in life that can bring you a lot of happiness and can bring others a lot of happiness too. And so I want to encourage everybody that's in that position to really embrace your curiosity. And at least in my case, the trick was to always focus on doing things well, to stick with some of these things. Don't be afraid to change if you discover that something is not for you, but understanding that no, you can learn 3, 4, 5 things really darn well if you really, really want to and if you really love what you're doing. And so with all that being said, this video is actually sponsored by Skillshare, and I can't imagine a better sponsor for this particular topic. Now, Skillshare is a platform where you can take classes on anything from art and design to productivity, business, creative writing, and so much more. Now, one of the reasons why I love having Skillshare as a sponsor is that the community and range of classes is just so vast. Skillshare is actually where I took some of my very first UX and UI design classes several years ago. And this course with George Bahua was actually one of the first classes I took when first getting into logo design for my own projects. Now, this course really showed me the magic of geometric shapes, and in particular, how those shapes and specifically grids are absolutely everywhere in the designs that make up our surroundings. Now, Skillshare has kindly offered a free trial of premium membership to the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description so that you can explore your creativity. And please do let me know in the comments of this video which classes you decide to try. I'd really love to hear about it. Thank you so much, Skillshare, for making this video possible. Okay, everybody, I really hope you enjoyed this rant. I'll certainly be really curious to see your thoughts, whether you agree, disagree, and feel free to share your own experiences from your own life.